I'm Kat Edel from the Dyscalculia Network, and today I'm going to be talking about using chocolate bars, specifically in this case Kit Kats, to look at fractions. I realised that I've used Kit Kats for a really long time, since I was quite a young teacher many moons ago, and they're a really good way of introducing fractions to children and talking specifically about mixed numbers and improper fractions later on. And I find children are really engaged in this. As a class teacher, I found it was a really good hook into fractions and got the children really thinking. And as a one-to-one teacher, I've really enjoyed doing this with pupils, and they've always really enjoyed doing it with me. So we start off with looking at Kit Kats. Now obviously you have to be careful if you've got any children with allergies, and find some alternatives and have separate tables and so on if you're in a class. But if you have a whole Kit Kat, I usually start by talking to the children about what is a whole Kit Kat, and they'll say, well, all of it. And I'll say, okay, so if I give you all of the Kit Kat, that would be okay, but actually I'd like to share it, or you've got to share it with your partner. So can you open the Kit Kat and share it between us equally? And the children, and I say I'll pick first the piece, so the children are usually really keen to split the Kit Kat in half, and usually they very quickly split it fairly, because I said I'll pick mine first. So we split the Kit Kat into its two pieces, and we talk about when there's two pieces there's half, and the children might observe really quickly that there's two sticks in each piece, and that's great. So we talk about that it's still half, because we've split it directly into two equal pieces. And I really like to get the children to draw what they've done, because that really encourages them also to get that concrete to pictorial and then to the abstract. And usually I write underneath, and we talk about how we'd write a half. So we've got one piece, you've got one piece out of the two pieces that we've got all together. So we do that to start with, and we talk about the halves. And we talk about also that two half pieces make the whole bar. They're the same as a whole bar. We do lots of discussion about that to start with. And then I say, okay, you can't eat all of your half, but you can eat one of the sticks. So I get the children then to split the Kit Kat into four pieces. And then I say, well, you can just have actually only one of those now. Usually I let them eat them, if that's okay with the parent, or in the classroom setting. And I say how many you've eaten, and then they might say a half, and I say, oh yeah, but if you had to eat a half, you'd have to eat this many, and that would be two sticks. So do you know what it would be if we had these? And we talk about the fact there's four pieces, and we're having one of them. And then I get them to draw it and say, while they're eating usually, get them to draw it and say, well, you've eaten one out of four pieces. So we draw the four, and maybe we cross out one because they've eaten it. And we talk about the fact that they've eaten one out of the four, or a quarter. And this leads really nicely into equivalent fractions. So say, okay, so if you ate another one, they're usually happy to do that to help you. If you ate another one, what's that the same as? And I say, well, look, that's the same as our half that we got earlier, because the two halves make a whole, and these two quarters are the same. So a half is equal to two quarters, and we can draw that again, which is a really nice way of linking in our understanding. And we keep going back to talking about the whole Kit Kat being this bar, and we've got part of it, because I think that's really important for children to see, that a fraction is just a part of something, and that's something I think often they find quite difficult to grasp. And this leads really nicely on to talking about, well, what if I was feeling really greedy, and first of all I ate this Kit Kat, and then I ate this piece more? What have I eaten now? And they'll quickly tell you, you've eaten the whole one plus one. And I'll say, well, one what? And we'll discuss that it's one quarter. And then you can say, well, how many quarters would that be? If I was eating all the sticks, how many sticks would I have eaten? And the child doesn't need to open this by this point to go, oh, well, there's four in there plus one more. So I've got 5 quarters. And then we can draw it and say, well, what did we draw? We drew a whole Kit Kat and a 1 quarter. And then how many quarters is that? That's 5 quarters, or 5 sticks of Kit Kat. And that has led us really naturally into discussing mixed numbers and improper fractions. And as the child starts to grasp that, we say, well, hold on a minute, what if we had this? What have we got? We've got one whole Kit Kat and half a Kit Kat. And how many half pieces is that? And we could draw an imaginary line down the Kit Kat, or even draw a line down the packet and say you've got 1, 2, 3 halves. So we can take this a lot further, and obviously the older the children get, the quicker you can advance if you feel they're understanding it, to, well, what have we got now? How many quarters have we got in 2 Kit Kats and 1 quarter? How many Kit Kats have we got in 3 whole Kit Kats? You see there's 3. 3 whole Kit Kats. and 3/4, how many quarters is that, and so on. And I've just always found it a really engaging, fun hook lesson, starting lesson. Just be careful that children don't think of 2 sticks as being a whole. If they've had small snack versions of Kit Kats in their bag, just have to watch out for that, and make sure they understand that the whole in this case is the big Kit Kat, not this being a whole. Have really good fun with it. I certainly have always enjoyed it with my pupils, and I've popped 3 worksheets on our website, starting with some really basic work on drawing and identifying Kit Kats, and then working through to some slightly harder examples. I hope you enjoy them, and have a lovely day. Thanks. Bye.